Niklsun here, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be going over all of the day's movie news, as well as going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. In what some may assume is a no-brainer considering how much money the first movie made and how praised it was from a lot of people who saw it, Universal has gone ahead and greenlit Neighbors 2. Now, for those of you who have seen the first movie, the first question goes, how? Like, how are they going to continue the story? I mean, there's obviously, they could have this be in installments, they could have this be like a National Lampoons type thing, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case because Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne, and Zac Efron have all signed on to star in the sequel. Nicholas Stoller, who was the director of the first movie, has signed on to come back to the next one. The writers of the first one, I believe, are coming back as screenwriters, but they're at least coming back as producers of the movie. So, I mean, it's essentially the crew that made the first one is coming back to do the sequel. And I like that. That's always a great thing because you get people who are aware of the characters, you get the understandings that where these people might need to go or where they might want to see them go. You know, even writing in the first one, like, oh, we've got this great idea. Okay, that might need a little bit more development. We're going to save that for the sequel. But it fits within the character. You're not just getting somebody else coming in and saying, this is what I would have done with those characters. No, this is a continuation of this story, which I think is actually really cool. Now, spoiler alert. So I'm going to put that out there right now. For those of you who've not seen Neighbors, the first one, skip ahead about 4 minutes or so into the video and you'll get on to the next story. But this is a spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Neighbors. So here I go. The ending of Neighbors, basically, Zac Efron and Seth Rogen are now pals. You kind of see them. I love that scene out front of the department store, or not the department store, the I think it was a clothing store, cologne store, where they're both, you know, shirtless and all that kind of stuff. It was really, really funny. So you see they're kind of chummy together. You know, they've gotten to an understanding. Zac Efron's character has now become a little bit more wise. He's a little bit older. I mean, not really, but figuratively, he's kind of got a more understanding of how to actually act. So he's not really that frat kid anymore. So I don't really know where they could take the story outside of maybe, you know, another frat takes the house next to them or something along those lines, or down the street, there's a frat house that comes in and they contact Zac Efron to say, listen, this is the problem we're having. We need your help with it. And then they kind of scheme together. I think that could really be cool. That could really be funny. I can't remember the actor's name. I think it's Ike something. But I really want Seth Rogen's friend in the movie, his coworker, to come back because that guy was hilarious. That was a really good character, really well written. And the one main thing I hope that they don't do with the sequel is ruin some of the big jokes. Now, there were a lot of aspects of the first movie that were not ruined by the trailer, but the main one was the airbag sequence. That should have been kept quiet because that was absolutely hysterical. It was definitely the funniest part of the movie, save for the dildo sword fight, or the dildo fight. But still, if that had been kept out of the trailers, I think more people would have found it even funnier. But since basically the funniest part of the movie was ruined in the trailers, then, well, I don't know about ruined, but just shown ahead of time in the trailers. There's still no official word about the story, though. This is all just speculation. This is all just kind of where I would see the movie going. It just spitballing off the top of my head right now. So we still don't know exactly what it's going to be about. I'm really curious, though, because it's coming very soon. We're getting it in May 13th of 2016. So this movie is going to be going into production sometime later this summer. Yeah, I'm definitely on board with this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I know that I really enjoyed Neighbors. You can actually go back and watch my review of Neighbors on the show, just to check and see, you know, whether or not your ideals of the movie kind of lined up with mine or whatever the case was. Just, you know, you can go back and check that out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this movie. Do you think it's great that we're getting all the three characters back? I cannot wait to see what they do with Rose Byrne, because that to me was a surprising aspect of the movie. I did not expect her to be as funny as she was. I know that Rose Byrne is a very talented comedic actress, but I wasn't expecting her to hold her own against, you know, somebody like Seth Rogen and Zac Efron and even Dave Franco. I mean, she didn't really have any scenes with him, but still, it was just absolutely hysterical to watch her just kind of break out of her comfort zone and really let her shine. I cannot wait to see what they do with her in the sequel, because that pumping scene was one of the standouts of the movie as well. So, the movie's going to be released on May 13th, 2016. If we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. Amy Pascal, the co-chairman of Sony Pictures Entertainment, has actually resigned her post. Now, she give you a little bit of a backstory. Most of you guys are probably aware of this, but mainly due to the Sony hacks, like all the information that came out from all the leaked emails and all that kind of stuff, really is what kind of forced her hand. But I think that the board of directors at Sony Pictures were actually looking at doing this even before the hacks came out, just getting her to step down, take a lesser role in the company. I mean, she's been working for Sony Pictures for, what, 28 years, 27 years, something like that. It was 1988 that she joined Columbia Pictures. And she left for like a year or so, but then she came back. And she's kind of worked her way back up into the leadership role, I guess you could say, of Sony Pictures. And while it wasn't really unexpected for her to step down, it is just kind of sad to hear about this because it wasn't her fault about this. I mean, she at least wasn't the main one to blame. I mean, she has to take some of the blame. She's basically the head of the company. So a lot of people have been saying, well, the Sony hacks are the ones that did this. Well, not necessarily. It's also because of the lackluster success that some of her films that she's championed while she's been chairman of Sony Pictures that have come out that haven't done as well as they wanted to. Like, just to give you an example here, White House Down. This is just their production budget. This is not their P&A or additional deals or anything like that. White House Down had a production budget of $150 million, and it made worldwide $205 million. So counting in box office, P&A, the things that the National Association of Theater Owners will have to take, and then all the back end deals, they maybe just made even, if not lost a little bit. After Earth was a little bit more successful worldwide. It did horribly here domestically, but it had a budget of $130 million and it made worldwide $243. So I think that was just in the green by maybe about $10 million. Red Dawn was a movie that not only sat on the shelf for 2 years, like they had filmed it, cut it, and all that kind of stuff. They then had to go in and, using CGI, they had to change the nationality of the villains because China started to get really mad at them for that. So they had to change it to Korea. The movie had a budget of $65 million. Worldwide only made $44. So they had to write off, on the budget alone, they had to write off $10 or $20 million. Then you got your budgeting, or your P&A, you got your back-end deals, all that kind of stuff. They lost a lot of money on that. Total Recall had a budget of $125 million. Worldwide box office was $198. So right there, that movie, I doubt, actually made profit. If it did, it just shyly made a little bit. And we're talking, that's not what Sony wants. And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 is probably the most recent one. Now, this one is still a financial success, in a sense. The reported budget of the movie was $175 million. I have heard a lot of reports, all from very reputable people, that they had between $100 and $130 million product and advertising budget. Right there, that movie needed to make, just to be in the black, not even in the green, in the black, they needed to make about $550 to $600 million. When you factor in everything, they spend close to $350 million just on advertising and actually making the film. Then on top of that, you have to take out the 20 to 25% that the theaters make. On top of that, you have all the producers' back-end deals that they had. Definitely Avi Arad had a producer's back-end deal. Kevin Feige may have even had something because he's just an overall producer on the film. He is not hands-on whatsoever. He just has his name attached to it. Maybe he gets a 1% cut of that film. I still don't know exactly. But that movie would have had to make about $550 to $600 million just to be in the black. Worldwide, it made $708 million. Now, when Amy Pascal was talking to shareholders, I believe in early 2014, she mentioned that in order for their plan for Spider-Man to really take off, this movie needs to make $1 billion. And they said, we definitely have an idea. We have a feeling that it will. They were really happy with the movie. How? I have no idea, unless they were watching one cut of the film that was the Electro cut, and then they had the Green Goblin cut, and then they had the Rhino cut, and then some producer came in and said, no, mash them all together, because that movie's just a big steaming pile of mess. It's got some moments. It definitely has its moments. A lot more moments than Transformers 4 had, let me tell you that. But that movie needed to make about $1 billion to secure the planned ideas that they had for the Spider-Man franchise. And it made 75% of its goal. Still admirable. Still made a lot of money. It cost a lot more than the first one did to make. It made less worldwide. That is not what Sony wants. And these are just in the last year or two. So this is not something that's happened over the last like 10 years. This is just in the last few years. And these are all under Amy Pascal's leadership. So, I mean, it calls to action the fact that she may not be the right person to run this business anymore. She has a lot of great ideas, absolutely. That is why they are keeping her on a producerial level. So whether or not she still has the gusto to actually go ahead with some of the projects that she really feels passionate about, like Cleopatra, then we'll still have to wait and see about that. The thing that really has me scared is one of the names that was brought up as a replacement. And I hope to God this is just a rumor and stays this way, but Tom Rothman is one of the people who is rumored to be considered a candidate for the position. Now, for those of you who have no idea who Tom Rothman is, Tom Rothman was I believe he was the chairman, if not the CEO of 20th Century Fox throughout pretty much the majority of the 2000s. He is the reason why we had a PG-13 Die Hard 4. He's the reason why we had a PG-13 Alien vs. Predator. He's the reason why we had a god-awful Alien vs. Predator sequel announced. Even though it was R-rated, it was a terrible film. He's the reason why we had X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's the reasons why we had X-Men Last Stand. A lot of these bad films. Daredevil, the reason why a lot of people really hate Daredevil, because he said, I like that script. But then when they actually finished the movie, he said, no, cut out all that lawyer crap. We don't need that in there. He's a crime fighter. He's not a lawyer. I'm sorry, Tom. That's the character. That's who he is. He's a lawyer. If you go and watch the director's cut of Daredevil, the one with Ben Affleck, it's a hell of a lot of better a movie. Like, I hate when I see a lot of movies come from Fox and you get a director's cut that's like 45 minutes longer. Usually a director's cut's got like 7 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 15. If it's got 15, you're like, okay, they cut out a fair amount of stuff because that's just little trimmings. No, this has entire sequences in the movie that was completely cut out because they felt, no, we got to trim it down. We got to make it more exciting for the kids. No, you don't. The reason you never got a sequel greenlit is because people hated the movie. But if you go back and you watch the director's cut, it might not be the Daredevil movie that you wanted to get. I think the Netflix series is going to be that. But it was definitely a much better interpretation of the character when you factor in the lawyer aspects. The fact of him actually being a detective of sorts. Like, he's very similar to Batman in the movie, in a sense. It was almost like his pre-audition for the role of Batman for Ben Affleck, because you see him going in and he's doing a little bit of investigating. He obviously is not seeing it because he can't hear anything, but he's just going in and kind of piecing together all the things that happened, and then also going out and doing his crime fighting. And it just makes all that just have much more weight and depth to it. So I just felt that it made it better. But Rothman is one of the reasons why Deadpool had his mouth sewn shut. Like, this is not the guy that you want running a massive studio. He isn't. He just does not have the right sensibilities. He's like, compromise on quality, get the most amount of people to see it, and that's my goal. Like, that is essentially what I'm being told from Tom Rothman as an executive. And I do not want him running Sony. Sony is in enough trouble as it is right now. They need somebody who is a good leader, who's going to shepherd them to at least something that is going to make them worthwhile, make them stand out. They were known as the company that made a lot of the Oscar caliber films. But outside of that, they didn't really have any big blockbusters outside of Spider-Man. They didn't really have any big money-making movies. So, I mean, I really do hope that they get somebody of quality in his place, or in Amy Pascal's place, I should say. The biggest question, though, is we've been hearing rumblings about what's going to happen with Spider-Man. Are you going to go back to Marvel? Are you going to at least talk to Marvel? Because Amy Pascal was one of the big ones who said, no, we're not doing that deal. Sony in Tokyo, like the head office Sony was saying, make the damn deal. Make it. Like, you're being an idiot for not making it. They're still letting you do spin-off films, or the standalone films. They're still letting you make Spider-Man movies. They just want to be able to use the character. They're going to do all this for you. Do the deal. But yet, no, she was like, nope, we don't need their help. We don't need their help. But yet, look at the position you're in. You just had to step down from your position as chairman of the company because of a lot of these problems that you've had in the past about not knowing when to either draw the line or when to step over the line. She's just the wrong person for that, at least right now. She did a great job getting up until this point, but it is time to step down, step away, let somebody else come in and really take ownership of this company. I do personally hope that Sony at least has talks with Marvel. Whether or not those go through is another story. At least open up the possibility. Because at that point, you at least know that, okay, we're going to try to find the right course for this character. Regardless of our pride or anything of that sort, we're going to try to find the right recourse for this character and see how to best utilize him. If that requires us to share the character with Marvel, then so be it. At the end of the day, in long term, which is what they need to be thinking, not short term, in the long term, you will be more financially successful if you do it that way. Again, I don't know the Marvel side of it. I'm not privy to that information. This is just my opinion on it. But I feel that Sony would be in a much better situation if they were to at least open the door. Now, if Marvel came back and said, no, you need to give us 100% control of the character, at that point, Sony, no, you say no to that. But if they're willing to go like a 60-40 split like they were earlier, at least entertain the possibility. That to me at least makes the most sense. But let me know what you guys think. I'd like to hear your opinions. Who do you think would be a great replacement for Amy Pascal? By the way, little fun fact, for those of you who have seen the Deadpool test footage, at the end when Deadpool says, "Hi, Tom," he's saying hi to Tom Rothman, because Tom Rothman was the one who literally screwed over the character in X-Men Origins Wolverine and also would not greenlight a Deadpool film. I mean, right there. Like, not saying that Deadpool is going to be the greatest movie ever made, but looking at a very passionate fan base, an actor who loves the character, somebody who's writing the script, who knows the specifics of the character, knows how to properly utilize him, a director that understands that, has a good visual eye for how to present all of this stuff. I mean, and he goes and says no. I mean, come on. Come on. You have to be a little bit more open to that. I understand it's running a business and your main point of action is to make a profit. I understand that. But you also have to look at the fact that it is an entertainment business. If you remove the entertainment aspect from that, people are going to stop going to your movies. I do not believe Tom Rothman is the right person for that. But I've gone on long enough about this. I want to know your guys' opinions. Do you think that Tom Rothman is actually a good choice? Do you think that I'm full of crap? Do you think that, well, actually, that's too open of a question. Don't answer that one. Do you think that I'm incorrect about that? Do you think that there's somebody else who would be a better choice for the position than some of the people that they've been eyeing up? Like her partner, I can't remember his last name, starts with an L. Latzman, I can't remember it. But who do you think would be a better choice? That's the main question. I want to hear your guys' opinions on this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if we do get more information about who's going to end up taking the reins of Sony Pictures, I will definitely update you guys on here. After revealing an incredible trailer during the Super Bowl, Universal has gone ahead and released the second full trailer for Furious 7. And I'll just kind of reiterate what I said when I recapped the Super Bowl trailer. I mean, what else can I say? This takes crazy to a whole nother level. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of the movie that I'm really looking forward to, but the main factor about this is this movie knows exactly what it is. The studio behind it knows exactly what it is and is able to just say, go nuts. Here's $120 million. Here's $150 million. Go nuts. These movies are outlandish. They are over the top. They are ridiculous, all in the best ways possible. This is like John Wick on steroids. If you were to give John Wick like $120 million budget, you would get something akin to the level of fun that you get from these movies. They are so silly, yet incredibly entertaining. And that's what they need to be. That's all they need to be. Because you need to walk in that theater, you need to be able to just sit there for 2 hours and just really enjoy yourself. See kind of some things that maybe you've seen before. Maybe these are brand new things. Like, I've never seen a movie that at least I can think of where they were having a car chase involving a tank and another sequence where cars were used to try to bring down a plane using grappling hooks. I've also never seen, at least again to my ability or my memory, I have not seen cars parachuting out of the back of a cargo plane to then try to take over a bus that is lined with machine guns and Gatling guns. I mean, I've also never seen a car drive out of like the 80th story of a skyscraper so fast that it is able to keep momentum and go into the corresponding building next to it. Like, it sounds so silly, it sounds so stupid, but it's incredibly entertaining. These movies are so much fun. I mean, tell me right now that does not elicit a little bit of excitement. The Rock standing in the middle of a street with a damn minigun. And he's got his ammo box. Like, he's fine. He's cool. He's definitely attacking some kind of helicopter. I mean, this is just so outlandish. There's nothing really more to say. I mean, it just looks so cool. This is either going to be a movie that you're going to love or you're going to absolutely hate. Because these movies are divisive like that. You either just acknowledge the type of film that it is and just have fun with it, or you pick it apart and say, no, two Mustangs could not be able to drag 100,000 pounds safe around a city. They wouldn't be able to do that. They would just keep spinning until their tires popped. Okay, leave right now. Because we're not here, we're talking about these movies, we're not here to have logistical arguments, all right? Because you can't. You can't. You will lose every time. Because these movies know that they're not logical. They know that they make no sense. And they don't care. Because they go full bore, turn the dial up to 15, like they break the dial off almost, just leveling the insanity over this entire film. I am definitely on board with this. I can't wait to see where they go past number 7. Because we know we're going to be getting more. We know they're going to be doing more. This movie's going to make more than the last one. If this movie makes more than Fast and Furious 6, it's guaranteed. Even if it makes just shy of Fast and Furious 6, they'll still at least consider another film. We're not done with the franchise. The One Last Ride is really in memoriam to Paul Walker, which, by the way, I should mention this. If you head on over to Collider, this is the website that I noticed the poster on, but they revealed a new poster for Furious 7. And it is more of an in memoriam for Paul Walker than it is anything else. It's just a really great poster. It really doesn't sell the film. It's just acknowledging the fact of what this guy did for this franchise and what this franchise did for him. And acknowledging that he's no longer with us and he's a big part of this movie and really, just acknowledging that. So definitely go on over, check that out. It's also on my Facebook page, so you can check that out as well. But yeah, the biggest part of the movie I think that I'm looking forward to outside of what we've seen in the trailers, I want to see more of The Rock versus Jason Statham. I think that fight scene looks really cool, although I do think that the trailer showed us a little bit too much. But again, this movie's going to be insane. I don't really care how much we see in the trailer, as long as they don't go beat by beat and then show us how the villain, if the villain gets defeated at the end, and if so, how he does. It's a foregone conclusion that he will be, I'm pretty sure, unless this is going to be a multi-arc film. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. What do you guys think about this movie? Do you think it looks as crazy as I do? Because I am just so on board with this movie. I'm just excited to watch the lunacy unfold on screen. This is just going to be so crazy. It's going to be epic. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so bad, but it's going to be so good. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Were you excited by the trailer? Did you not really care about it? If you haven't even seen it yet, you can click the description of this video. There's a link in there for the trailer so you guys can check it out. The movie's going to be opening up on April 3rd, so we only have about 2 months left to wait for the film. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. We have our first official look at the upcoming remake of the Steven Spielberg produced, Reed directed, 1982 classic Poltergeist. Now, for those of you who aren't aware about Poltergeist, Poltergeist was one of the 2 films in the year, I believe it was 1982, that came out. It was that, was it 1984? It might have been 1984. I may be mistaken on that. But this was one of the 2 films, and I think Gremlins was another one too. So one of the 3 films that helped usher in the PG-13 rating, because this was rated PG, and a lot of people went, huh? Yeah, I'm not taking my 8-year-old to see this. It's a terrifying movie. This was one of the original horror films that didn't rely on gore. And that's why it still holds up to this day. Now, some of the special effects obviously don't hold up. That's one of the reasons why they're doing the remake. But the one thing, if you guys have seen the original, that you can take at least notice of in this new trailer, they're just remaking that film. Like, they're not even really just trying to update the story. They're just taking what elements happened in that film, just maybe putting a polish on some of the CGI that's happened with them. But we're being told the same thing. And I mean, the one thing the film has going for it is in Craig T. Nelson's character's position, you have Sam Rockwell. That, to me, is a win any day of the week. Not saying that Sam Rockwell is better than Craig T. Nelson. I'm saying he's a worthy match and a worthy person to take the mantle of that character, because Sam Rockwell's awesome. Anybody out there who says that he's not awesome has no idea what they're talking about. Now, if you can show me evidence of him not being awesome and being potentially either a bad individual or just a terrible actor, which I guarantee you can't find, then let me know, because I'd love to at least be proven wrong about something. But as long as you have the facts to back it up, I hate when people go out and they say, no, you're wrong. Why? Well, because you're wrong and I'm right. Okay, that's a logical argument. Bye. You know, I hate getting those arguments. They really just, they grind my gears is what they do. But no, there's a couple of things this movie definitely has going for it. First off, you got Sam Raimi producing it, and the guy knows how to do horror films. Now, recently he hasn't been the greatest producer when it comes to horror films. I mean, I did enjoy the Evil Dead remake, but that was just excuses for having 14,000 tons of blood on the set. But you look at things like The Grudge, the sequels to The Ring. I like the original Ring, but the sequels to The Ring. You have, what were some of the other films that he produced? I'm even drawing a blank. I've even forgotten about them. So his name being attached to it gives me a little bit of hope for it, but still it's a little bit... But the main thing to me is the cast. You have Sam Rockwell in the Craig T. Nelson role. You have Rosemary DeWitt playing his wife. Rosemary DeWitt is a talent. Like, she is just a full-force talent. She's a great actress. You have Jared Harris, who I have been a huge fan of for years and years and years. You know, he comes in and he plays like the priest. He plays the guy who knows what's going on. He knows kind of what the stakes are, what to do in certain situations. So I'm excited to see him really have fun with that role. The one thing I want to see from this movie, and hopefully we might get that from the next trailer, but this one just seems like it's a retread of what we've already seen. By the way, if that looks familiar to you and you haven't seen the original, it's because you watched the trailer for the new one and they have this sequence in it almost verbatim. Like, same exact styling of clothes, same... you got the static, which I don't really understand how they were able to get those squiggly lines on a high-definition television. I really don't. But it's essentially the same exact sequence, so... Not really even visually updated. Just the CGI itself has been updated. I hope, however, that they are saving a lot of really fresh, new aspects of the movie to either show us in the finished product or in the second trailer, which we'll be getting most likely sometime in April. But, I mean, the biggest aspect to me about this, outside of the cast, is the fact that hopefully we are going back to a horror film that is not going to end up becoming a torture porn. Because that's all that horror films have become nowadays. It's what ways can we just gross out the audience? And that's not horror. That's just making people feel uncomfortable. And if they're able to actually bring genuine scares and genuine terror back to a movie, even though the fact that the general going audience has been very desensitized to things like that, if you can bring out something that can inherently scare people and, excuse me, and really have them be not necessarily afraid, but really have it stick with them and just really make them feel, I don't want to use the word uncomfortable because I just kind of made a bad point about that, but make them feel uncomfortable, you know, but have it stick in their minds. Don't have it be because, you know, they feel like they're going to throw up. Have it be because they're genuinely scared. You know, I mean, the first movie had the clown, you know, I mean, it wasn't that movie that made me terrified of clowns. It was the Stephen King adaptation of It, because my babysitter decided to show me that movie when I was 5. Thank you. I now have a fear of clowns. But, yeah, this is Niklsun's personal moment. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I do have a fear of clowns. The other aspects of the trailer, it was kind of run-of-the-mill. You know, it was a very generic trailer to me. It didn't really sell this movie to me. It sold me on rewatching the original. For those of you who haven't seen the 1980s original movie, I recommend watching it. Even though Tobe Hooper directed it, it wasn't him. It was Steven Spielberg. You can feel his handprints all over that film. He was the one, I mean, Tobe Hooper might have been the guy actually saying action and cut, but Spielberg was the one who was saying, no, maybe you should angle the camera over here, have it lower a little bit, have the, you know, put the actors right here, have them blocked over here, you know, maybe have this light turned off, give it a really dramatic effect. He was the one who was making all those decisions on the film. So, as it stands right now, Poltergeist is going to be opening up on July 24th. It's actually really funny. Up until about 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know this movie had shot yet. I knew that they were doing a Poltergeist remake. I didn't know... I knew they had cast the movie, but I didn't know they had started filming it because I didn't hear anything else other than that. And then, lo and behold, about a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, Sam Rockwell did an interview where he talked about the Poltergeist remake and how they had already shot it. And I thought, oh, that's okay, that's surprising. And then the other day, we got pictures, the first photos for the movie, and now we have a trailer. So this movie kind of snuck up on me. I really don't know how I feel 100% about it. I love the original. I love Poltergeist, the original movie. I mean, it's scary movie. It's a scary movie. If they can replicate that in this movie, I'm all on board. I am 100% on board. I just don't feel that they are going to do that. But more importantly, what do you guys think in the comment section below? I want to hear what your guys' opinions are. Did you like the trailer? Did you think maybe they could have done something different? What are your guys' opinions on this? Let me know in the comment section below. And if we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. But as it stands right now, it'll be opening up on July 24th of this summer. Well, that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Go ahead and click that subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. And also give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. If you guys ever have a topic or a question you'd like to have talked about on this show, you can go ahead and put a comment in our comment section, or you can email us at movienewswithniklsun, Niklsun, @gmail.com. And on every Friday episode, we'll try to get to as many as we can. But until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.